Hey guys, this is Orsi and this is going to be a short quick update of after my previous video, plus in a way a video response to Benabel Wells. I forgot the title of the video. It's about are divination methods or just divination practice always right? I will link down obviously the original video and you can watch it if you haven't seen it, because quite coincidentally, which I don't believe in obviously, the topic of that video and what I was going through and I'm kind of still going through in the past week is parallel to each other. So if you haven't seen my previous video, I was talking about whether to leave my librarian job because there are human errors issues over there, or stay there and not go back to my previous job, which is a job that I can do, but it's not something that I want to for a long time. The librarian position is something that I want to do, so which is the right decision. And honestly, I was going back and forth between the two. I was making lists and elements on those lists, pro and contra list elements on those lists kept moving around, and I quite possibly overthought the whole thing. I can just admit that I'm an air sign, I'm an airhead, I do everything in my head. But at the same time, I really felt like this is a fork in the road kind of big decision. My life can go into separate and very different directions if I choose one or choose the other. So, it was an easy decision, and I already made the decision to leave the library after all. And I can't say that I feel just relieved or, I feel like I made the right decision, which is not a good feeling. I told my boss on Monday that I plan on leaving. I said, it's money and blah, blah, blah. And then she made a counteroffer, which sounded really good, to be honest. But I wasn't sure if I can accept it because she would have matched the amount of money I was getting at the old place from next January, which is okay, it's a few months, I can deal with it, obviously. But she can only do that if I actually get into university and, get the higher education. And I didn't want to sign something and stay here if I'm not, because I can't promise for 100%, 1,000 for sure that I will be able to get in university and do my master's. And what if I can't? I already getting a higher amount of pay from January because I promised I will do that. And if I can't deliver, then what? Do I have to pay back the money, or is it just going back to a lower amount, or how does it work? These are things that are not something that I can just wing. So that was part of the decision why I was opted to go this route, because I feel like there's less pressure to actually do everything and get into university this way. So the chances of doing well and well enough is higher. I'm still really, really hoping that I will get into, because I would really love to get this degree, because that would open up my possibilities of working in a library in Budapest as well. So, like in other places, not just here. And the other part is the human element. There's already someone who wants to leave. There was someone who got into a really bad health-related place because of how she was treated, and those things always happen. And I know that I would get into the rotation as well, and I would treat it like that as well. Even though I think because of Reiki and how I use Reiki, I can handle that, but still, it's not an easy thing to watch someone else suffer, especially if you don't agree with, what's happening. And the other thing is that there are people who work now in the library who doesn't want to work during the weekends, or Saturdays, which who wants to? I mean, we used to when it was like you got an extra thing because you did an extra thing. Now it's just like you have more hours that you have to do later and stuff like that, so it's not fun. But there is someone who said that they're not gonna do that, and then the boss was like, okay, so there's less people to get in rotation for Saturdays. There are people who will probably work more so in the mornings, which means I'm gonna be one of the people who will do the afternoon and evening shifts more often. And if I, start adding these things up, then I don't have the evenings, and yeah, I can, sleep in longer, which is nice, not getting up at 6 a.m., but at like 8 or 9 if on some days, but the whole day is gone either way, because if I go to work at 11 and then I work till after 7 p.m., the whole day is already gone. And then if I have work on Saturday, then let's do it at 6 days. So right now, I feel like this is a smarter route to take, to go this way, do the masters, hopefully, please. And then after that, get into maybe a different library, see something else, I don't know, but at least have that option. Then to stay here and sign a contract for like 6 years or something and do everything here. Because what if I can't handle it and then I'm really like chained to a situation where I'm emotionally suffering? And I think that's my biggest issue always with accepting jobs. I know, it's my own shadow, and this is where one of my, deepest trauma issues, I think, lies or lives, is that every time that I think that, every time that I have to say yes to a job, and within the time that I started actually working, because, I started working late after being sick and all that, every time that happens, I feel like that changed me to a 3D experience, a 3D life that I cannot handle. And I don't know how to explain it, because people are like, oh yeah, but everybody has to work. And I understand, but the concept of working like this, I cannot explain it, can't justify or say that it makes any sense, or I don't even know what to say. It doesn't make sense. I'm aware of it. My mind knows that it doesn't make sense of it, but my soul, my gut, my emotions feel like the world is ending when I have to do something like that. And like I said, I cannot explain it. I know it's not as big of a deal. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who want to work because they don't have a job, and here I am complaining about actually, having a job. But this is something that, it's just, I feel ever since I went through all what I went through. So it could be trauma response or trauma related, like I don't even know what, or just understanding on a deep, like I don't know, cellular level, that life shouldn't be about all these mundane things. It's just, I think it's just hard for me. So I need time to get out of this hole that I'm currently finding myself in. My depression are, really, really bad right now. Not in a, you need to worry about it, things. I have Reiki, like I said, which helps, but it will take time to get over this, get over the uncertainty of, did I make the right decision by leaving, or did I just fuck up something that could have been a good thing for me in the long run? Because, there are good things. I mean, I love the job. I absolutely love every aspect of being in a library and doing all the things there. It's a fun, it's an exciting job for me. I feel at home doing those things. And with this job, it's mentally exhausted. The other one, I'm not a numbers person, so I know that this is not something that I can do as passionately as the other one, but it's less, I don't even know. Like it gives me more structure that I need right now, because I really need that right now, and options maybe, you know, and takes me out from my mind, because I am living in my head, like I said previously. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I made a decision, and now I have to accept that I made that decision and deal with it. And this is where the VR part comes into this video, because and I made notes so that I can try to explain it, because the video was about you know, if you do a reading, is it always right? You know, if the tools you have, are the tools you have always reliable, or and your intuition and stuff like that. Beneval said it so much nicer, and you know, like more currently. I'm just going with my emotions, I guess, and I'm learning my emotions. I think this year and this change that I'm going through, transformation, I would say, is about being more in tune with my emotions, which is not a place that I feel comfortable at all. But I know that, you know, I need to learn how to deal with my emotions, because I can't just always shut them away. You know, I know that's not healthy. But this is something that, you know, I pulled a card from one of my comfort decks, I would say, the Tarot of the Little Prince, which I'm a huge advocate of. I just adore this deck. And I pulled a card after I made the decision, and I came home, and it was, you know, like I knew that this is done. Things are already in motion. I cannot just say that, hey, I changed my mind and I wanna stay, because you can't. After a, you know, like a certain decision, you have to accept that you made it. And I pulled the Eight of Cups, and was I surprised? Of course not. But in a way, maybe I was, because I was, and I made the specific request to, you know, not to, I wasn't voicing it out to, please don't tell me that I made a mistake, because I couldn't deal with that right now. I was just, please give me some encouragement how to deal with the situation. So anything could have, you know, come out. Anything from the Queen of Pentacles, which is my, you are supported by the Divine card. Every time the Queen of Pentacles shows up in a reading, I always take that as a, okay, we are here, we're supported, we're supporting you, we as in the higher ups. You are loved, you are, you know, protected and all that jazz. So that could have been there. But I didn't want to see like a tower or something, because I don't think that a tower or a Ten of Swords would have been something that I could have handled. So I was hoping that it wouldn't be that. But in a way, the Eight of Cups is reassuring, but because the Eight of Cups is exactly like that. You invested time, energy, money, love, care, resources into something, but it's just not working, and you have to realize that it's not working, and you have to walk away. And I think this is exactly what I'm going through, and why I have such a hard time letting it go is because of all the what ifs, all the this could be so good, all the moments when everything was right, and it, you know, I was able to see how nice and how well matched or well suited for me this whole work and place and just everything could have been, but it's not, and it's hard because I really wanted it. I think being a librarian is the only thing that I ever, it is the only thing that I wanted to be when I was a child, that I actually, you know, was able to try out. I'm not an astronaut, I'm not an archaeologist. So, you know, all those things are not working out for me, but being a librarian is something that I'm, on a professional level or a soul level, I would say I'm connected to. That's why I'm still hoping that, you know, it's not the end of that road. And that was part of it why I was just worried that if I say no to this here, then I'm closing the door forever. And yeah, sorry, my voice is like really, I don't even know, raspy for some reason. you know, throat chakra and all that jazz. But yeah, so why I was thinking to connecting with the, you know, the update and Benaval's video is because I obviously did a reading for myself, and in that reading, what I got for the library was the Ace of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, and the King of Cups. And what that told me, you know, how I read the reading or interpreted the cards was, you know, this is a long-term, like this is an opportunity with a long-term prospect. You have to put in some effort and wait and see how it turns out, but altogether it's a good place to be, a good thing to start, and you will reach that emotional maturity that you desperately need. And for the other job, I got the Magician, the Ten of Swords, and the Moon. And then I pulled some cards on the Ten of Swords because I was like, okay, but which part of the Ten of Swords? And I got the Four of Pentacles, the High Priestess, and what was the third one? Maybe the Queen of Pentacles, you know, something like that. No, or the Two of Pentacles, something, I don't know, but you know, Four of Pentacles, High Priestess. So it's obviously it was about the money, but usually when I do a reading for myself and I connect with the reading and I connect with what is in the cards and how I interpret them, I get a sense of relief, a sense of calm, because I'm like, okay, now I understand what's going on. Sometimes it happens, obviously, that I don't really get the message, but it's because I need to sit with the cards or just rearrange the question in my head and word it better so I can get a more clear answer. But 99% I get that, okay, I understand, I knew that this is what it is. I just had to sit down and see the cards and interpret them and, you know, have that conversation with me, my higher ups, and my higher self, whatever you believe in. I believe that, you know, we all have a higher self and we all have a connection to the divine. What is the divine is a different video topic, but I do believe that we have something more evolved around us that helps us. It can be just part of the human mind that we cannot access at this moment so easily. I don't care. I just believe that it's there. But like I said, this time I was just looking at the cards and I was like, it doesn't feel right. It's not saying that it's not what I wanted to see would be like, oh, I don't, you know, accept what's in the cards and I just want a different result, which could be already an answer. So, you know, if you see something in the cards and you're like, oh no, I want the other option, then you really want the other option, and you should go for it. But this was just like, something is not right. And the more I thought about it, I felt like what I saw in the cards and what the deck was able to give me was exactly how I felt, because I was too emotionally all over the place. I was too heavily connected to the question and like, you know, I'm terrified, I need answers, please help me kind of way, which is not a good place to read for anybody, and not just for yourself, but to, you know, anybody else. And I always keep that rule when I read for other people, that if I'm in a really bad place, if I feel depressed, if I feel really sad, or I'm just like really tired, I don't do the reading, no matter, you know, who asked for it and how quickly they need an answer, because it's better for me to go to sleep or do something for a few hours and then come back to doing a reading if I'm more emotionally stable. But in this moment, I was just all over the place. And it happened to me previously a few times as well, that I was feeling like just ending everything, and not in that way, but, you know, like I felt everything was hopeless and there was no purpose in anything. And then I got the Ten of Swords and the Tower, and exactly how I felt, you know, like everything was ending and this is it, this is the end of the road. So the cards were just reflecting on how I felt. And I felt like in this case, this was actually what was happening. So is it the fault of the deck, or like tarot as a system? No, and I don't think it's my fault either. It's just that I think we would like to take out the human element, the human experience, the 3D part of being a spiritual being from the readings, but I don't think we can. I mean, if someone is that evolved that they can just detach from everything that's happening in their lives, that's awesome. I'm not Buddha. I'm never going to be. I don't think that's I don't think that I need to go that way anyway. But we are human beings and we have emotions, and I think Benaval said something about that how sometimes she pulls in her experience and gives that to the querent, that hey, this is what the card says, but my experience in this situation with these kind of cards, at least how I interpreted what she said, is this and that, based on experience. But what I usually do is I look at the cards, and if I have a feeling, if my emotions are telling me something else and not the textbook meaning of the cards in front of me, then I go with that, because this is where I let my intuition and emotional intelligence maybe get a better answer for the question than otherwise. And obviously everybody does these readings differently. I know people who don't believe in anything divine or divine presence, or they don't use tarot as a spiritual tool, so you don't have to have that. Most people that I know connect the two, but it's not a requirement to use tarot. So I think it's personal, but we're just human beings who are trying to do the best. So even if you're the most seasoned tarot reader, and I'm obviously not, I don't think that you can or should leave your emotions out of it when it's coming from a regulated, like temperancy kind of place. And that's why I think it's much more easier to read for anybody else, for other people, because you can be much more objective. You see the cards, you have an inclination, if you want to call it like that, you have a sense of feeling what the meaning is, actually, like the subtext of the cards. And you can get that because you don't know the deeply rooted issues that the person has that would prevent them from seeing those answers in cards. So obviously I went to I went to a friend and asked them to read for me about this situation as well. And maybe this connects to, I can't speak, sorry. This connects to that part of the video, is that if the same set of cards are laid in front of 5 different readers, will they see different things, and how do you reconcile those differences? And I think it's two things. That if you have one question and you go to 5 different readers, that's better than to go to the same reader 5 times, I think. But it can work both ways, actually. For the reader, it can be, like annoying that, you're curious about how George feels about you, because like you asked me that 2 days ago, how much can change within 2 days, but actually a lot. That's one thing. But the other thing is, if you have different results for a reading, it might be because you have to hear 5 different elements of a situation, a complex situation, and you needed 5 different person to tell you one each, so that you might have a bigger chance or a higher chance to actually hear what they are saying. Because maybe one is telling you that, hey, you're supposed to leave a person, and the other says, no, you're supposed to work on it, because I don't know, like I'm trying to come up with a card combination, like let's go with the Lovers, the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. And this could be interpreted in a way that you have to find balance between like fun and responsibilities in order to be fully immersed in a relationship, because you can't lose yourself. You actually have to spend time with friends as well. But other people could say that the Three of Cups is a third person in the relationship, and maybe it's not just the two of you in the relationship and you're not aware of it and stuff like that, But one can be about how you feel, what you're afraid of, and you have to deal with, like, are you actually worried that there's a third person in that relationship? Is there anything objectively, if you can take out, all your fears and worries from that question, that shows signs that there's dishonesty, then there's distrust, or is it just that it's in your head, so to speak? And maybe, these can be elements, different elements of the same answer. And I think, you can use that to actually reconcile the differences in reading. So that would be one answer, if this makes any sense. I know I'm talking for a long while now, so sorry about that. I think I answered is your intuition always right already, that if your emotions are clouding your judgment, then not. Your intuition comes from being able to connect to yourself in a very clear and stable and balanced way. But if your emotions are all over the place, obviously you're not going to be able to find that self-center, like, what is my gut telling me when my gut is feeling like this? It can't tell me anything, it's like this. So obviously it's not going to be clear. So this is why it's good to have, like tarot reader friends, so you can actually go to them and ask the question. And what I, didn't finish is that my friend pulled the moon card for the library, and that was, for me, the moon. I don't think, did I tell? Maybe I forgot to say that it was the Magician, the Ten of Swords, and the Moon for the Korean job, or the previous job that I was doing, that I pulled, and a friend of mine pulled the Moon for that one, and her interpretation of the whole thing was completely different. And for the library, she pulled it for the library. But there was also a parallel card from the other side. But I can't remember right now. But one of the cards there, I think the King of Cups, maybe, that showed up in the other, side of the previous job. So there were cards, repeated cards, but on the completely different and opposite side. So, which one is correct? And this is where I chose to listen to the voices outside of me more, because I knew that where I am currently is not a good place to get any advice from. And like I said, I'm not 100% okay with the decision. At least I didn't wake up at 3 a.m. today and spend the morning just agonizing. I woke up around 6, that's when it's a bit better. And I was okay for a few hours. Then the whole doubt wave came back, and but I'm working on it. So hopefully I didn't make the biggest and most horrible decision. Oh yeah, I remember now what I wanted to say. The card that came up for the previous job that I went back to in my friend's reading was the Word, and the Word card keeps coming back up in like almost every reading that I did in the past week. The Word card was there, so I'm definitely feeling the finishing up a big cycle, and feeling the sense of, okay, now what feeling of it, which is weird. I think this is my first time in this life that I actually am finishing up a big cycle like that. I don't think that anything that I went through before was anywhere close to finishing like leveling up, but now I feel like life is actually leveling me up, which is, part of it is exciting, part of it is terrifying because I have no idea what's coming. I just started thinking about what's my actual purpose in life again, which I thought that I knew, but I don't think so. So I will be doing a lot of what's my purpose spread when I'm feeling a bit better. But I did a reading for the past supermoon as well, and the what to care for position, the word came up. So I definitely feel like the opening up, the expansion is there. I just need to find a way to, play with this energy and actually embody it and just see where it leads. But yeah, I think this is all. I hope it made sense. I hope this was interesting, or you can understand what I'm trying to say. It made me feel better talking about all this, which is good. So thank you guys for being here and listening, and just allow me to post these videos because these are useful for me as well. But I don't know if it makes sense in a way of as an actual VR, but sorry, I did my best. But yeah, what's your opinion on the topic about what Benamel was asking about divination, if it's always right or not? Or is it even a problem if it's not always right or wrong? Because I don't think it is. I think sometimes the lesson is exactly not to rely on something 100%. You can use it, but you have to accept that you're still a human being who have to just experience life, and you can't use a cheat sheet and just be like, okay, I don't know what to think or feel, I'm gonna ask the cards. Sometimes you have to go through and work out and experience what you think or feel, which is terrifying, and it's messy and it's not enjoyable, and I hate every second of it. But hopefully it's gonna help me grow. Spirituality, expectation versus reality, the sun card versus the tower. But yeah, okay, this is all, and like I said again, really do I thank you, and I do appreciate you for being here and just listening to me rambling. But since I will work in a Monday to Friday, like more regulated time frame again, I will have live streams again soon. So see you in one of those. Bye.